knocked me out.
Yeah.
Knocked my well out, but I was finally able to get it reset, but knocked my garage doors out. Something I remember going. It was one of those where you knew it was there, but it was loud. Knocked my well, but I was able to go down, and I was able to get it reset. And then it knocked it comes in from my well, and it hits my garage door opener.
We're on here.
House, because I've got a.
Oh, but this, he said it's on a breaker
So
that
Why,
is tripped and can't
So I
get
knocked
it.
out both
The breaker
of the
won't go back
garage
on.
doors.
why not?
I don't know.
So I had to manually
Fiddling with it.
Did you
Maybe put an engineer on the case, but
But that's extra charge. Didn't have the time at that moment.
That's odd. And why is there power for these?
because apparently it's just the lights. Or it's on a separate breaker.
Into the wall
John Phoenix.
versus ceiling lights, because the bathroom lights are working, everything's working around except for these up on the ceiling.
Why don't I go up and then we'll do that, the last item, bring you in and,
Sounds good.
Yes. I'll put you on the spot tonight.
Someone did switch the lights on.
I actually tried that. Not all I did try that. I've been embarrassed that way before.
Remember when you would call Dell or somebody and they would say,
John put it on, so I don't know.
Yep, it should be going.
Okay, do we have anybody?
Does not appear to be so yet.
Okay.
Let me just do this.
Do you have a printed agenda for tonight?
no, I don't.
Oh.
I've got it.
Someday I'll get it right. CSI?
Yeah, CCI.
CCI.
I have an answer.
Got back to me. I was on the phone with someone else. I called them at noon.
You okay?
And they said, oh,
I heard the
talk
door.
to so-and-so. This could be the door upstairs.
Could be. I mean,
Welcome to our arcade.
it's your inner sanctum here.
Yeah.
You know, those education property taxes we can't pay for bills now.
No. Can't throw the school under the bus.
Okay.
All right, I'll call the meeting to order. Are there any adjustments to the agenda? I think that there's some things that I think would flesh out, but I think we have a general order that everything fits under. Anything else?
What about Steve's note? Is that anything we want to discuss about the emergency services?
Oh, well, that's
it?
yeah, that would be new business. We can put that in there, so. All right, next would be the minutes. Has everybody had a chance to review those?
Yes.
Okay.
Did we want to amend them to, your email talking about going before the select board? Did you want to add those into the minutes?
I suppose that we could put that in there. I did go, so.
Do you have
It
anything to
happened.
report?
Huh?
Do you have anything to report?
Probably will, yeah.
Okay.
But why don't we add it to the minutes that I was going to go and, okay. All right, so with that amendment, is motion to,
I move we approve the amended minutes.
okay, second? Okay. I guess we could move right to the town plan draft. What I reported to the select board is that we were pretty close. John let me know that the people who are going to weigh in on the emergency services on vacation, and so that's going to stay or still be a while. And the implementation section, John, you said you were going to be working on, or?
Yeah, I didn't know if we were gonna talk about it tonight or what the plan was on that.
We could, is there anything, well, why don't we do that?
Sure.
Yeah, if there's, especially if there's anything to report
Great.
or something wrong there. So,
Okay.
why don't you-
Yeah, so this is the implementation section that it was in the draft. I didn't go, I kind of read through it. I didn't go kind of line by line, but I did just have a couple of questions on it. So there's a lot of different people kind of called out, the Planning Commission and the Conservation Commission, the Select Board, myself as the town manager. Do you, prior to adoption, have you reached out to those other folks to ensure that they are in agreement with kind of taking ownership over these goals or recommendations?
Well, we haven't on this particular one, have you?
No, we
No,
discussed it.
Yeah, we
What?
discussed it, but the other thing is that this section is pretty much intact
From the
previous
yeah.
one, so it goes back 20,
Yeah, right.
however many years, so I don't know,
Kinda read that way, so.
but it probably, I mean, if there's certainly nothing to,
John, I can give you maybe a little different answer.
Sure,
Not
Go ahead,
different,
yeah.
but say it a little differently.
yeah,
The original, the February draft, for example, had some listings under implementation
yep,
that were not just recommendations, but there was some policy in there, et cetera.
okay.
That has been removed.
So these are all just
Those
recommendations.
are all just recommendations. Who would be, if you will, responsible for each of those?
Yep,
What I attempted to do, and what we have discussed here on the commission, is to try to identify the best we could where we thought that would best be directed. So with this particular version, the August 8th
Yep.
version, and I did hear Phil's request the other night, of any drafts that I have, the cover sheet does have the date on it. But what I did on this particular version is I also went in and I put it not only on the cover page, but in the footer.
Excellent.
Okay, so now that whenever you look at something,
Yeah.
you should be able to see at least what appears to be the most current date. With that in mind, the implementation discussion has not fully left this body, other than when I sent a copy, I think, to Phil and to you,
yep,
addressing follow-up on our conversation about EMS,
Yep.
and also to have another set of eyes to take a look at that.
Yeah.
So other than you representing select board and you representing town manager, that's the extent
okay.
of that conversation.
If you think about it, we didn't identify individuals. We identified functions. So now the question I've got is, how does that work?
Right.
Is it obligatory? Is it optional? The task goes to the function. If someone's assumed the function, I would assume that it's obligatory.
Right, well, so that goes to, I mean, a little bit of my second kind of question / comment, is there's very few of these, if any, if I recall, had actual time frames, right? It's all ongoing, short-term, midterm. There wasn't,
The three terms that were being used, yes.
right, there was no by 2027, by 2030, whatever like that. Is there a reason, when we had the town hazard mitigation plan, we have a similar section, right? Here's mitigation goals, here's who's responsible, and sometimes it is ongoing. But often it is, we're gonna replace this culvert by 2029.
Yep.
Funding dependent, for example. Because then, it gives people an actual deadline to work. I know myself, you give me you can do that whenever you get to
Goes
it.
on
I'm
the
never
top.
gonna get to that,
I
right? You tell me it's gotta be done by Friday, it will get done by Friday.
Okay.
So I don't know if there's the opportunity to insert more specific dates in there, or if this is how it's always been done and the
Well,
planning
did you-
commission is happy with that.
Did you see anything that you thought would be, could use?
Do you know, I
something that
was,
would-
so I specifically, just based on, previous life, honed in on the flood resilience element. And certain things like, revising the flood hazard regulations, midterm, but what is midterm? Is that the next 2 to 4 years? Is that before the next town plan? What are we talking about here?
To be, once again, just speaking mainly for myself, is that I don't know as I felt comfortable putting those specific dates on, especially for a town employee or the governing body.
Well,
No, you're
That's
right.
partly why the link to the conversation, that if we would like to have the conversation and be specific about those, we can add them, or, given the process, once it leaves us and comes to the select board,
Uh-huh.
that's another opportunity to add specificity to it.
And so I think, these two conversations kind of go hand in hand, right? If you're sending it to the Conservation Commission to say, work with the land trust to identify property we want to conserve, for example, that's the recommendation. Is Rob and the Conservation Commission aware of that, and what does that look like in their time frame, right? Is it yes, we will do that in the next 12 months, yes, we'll do it in the next 5 years, or is it a continuous process that we kind of have that open conversation?
I don't see that's us. I see, look, there are two bodies that have a final say, I think, in this document, right? TROC and the town.
Yeah.
Through its select board. Those are what we see as important things. It's up for the town as the enforcement body to implement them. So if they accept it and they're not changed, I don't think we would, I mean, we said, well, we think these things should be done.
Yep.
We think this is the responsible party. So you either agree or not, and then I presume that, the town, the leaders of the town set the priorities, budget, all of
Right,
that.
yeah, and I'm not, again, if this is like history, this is the way it's always been done, I think it's fine. I think there's an opportunity to add some specificity, but it's certainly not,
Yeah, we didn't
required.
put any, nothing's new in there.
Right.
That's,
Yeah.
we pretty much just grafted that. Steve and I've had discussions about, if it was up to us, I don't know how meaningful it even is. It takes up an awful lot of room in the plan, so.
Speaking of meaningful,
Yeah.
I thought we were just doing chapter 1.
Yeah, we're gonna get that. I was about to suggest that
Yes.
we carve out chapters 7 and 10, put them aside, discuss chapter 1, and then when we're done with that, if we can vote, if we're think that everything else is ready to go, we can approve that part of the plan and then have the plan.
That part of the plan being chapter 1.
Unless, if we can take a vote on chapter 1 tonight, great, but I was gonna, I went through it, I have quite a few suggestions that I want to run by everybody,
Why
so.
don't we just move on to chapter 1?
All right, well, let's just, maybe just to wrap this discussion up. So if we,
Give you one little follow-up. Historically,
Yeah,
and I'm not speaking as a historian because I was not on the commission when the last plan was done, but to the best of my recollection, the currently in place plan does not have date-specific information at the end.
right, agreed, yeah,
It doesn't mean we can't do it, but I think that's why you received it from this point.
right, okay.
would you want to go through it and see if there's anything you think that, as town manager, you would want to see a date on it?
I think, I certainly thought some of the actions could, again, to the, like, if we put a date on there, it might actually drive action as opposed to kind of continued discussion.
That wouldn't come afterwards? Because again, I didn't see us as,
Yeah.
as an enforcement body.
No,
It's
no,
not-
no,
It's not
no.
enforcement. I
No,
wouldn't use that
No,
word.
but I mean, when you put dates on,
Yeah.
you're saying, well, it's going to be done by this time. That isn't our function.
It is not. Yeah, I would agree with
And
that.
I just,
Well, that's why but that's what
Yeah.
that's the purpose of the section, is to designate whose responsibility it
There's
is.
no
we-
consequence for
yeah.
it not getting complete.
No, well, certainly no consequence from
from
us.
us, yeah.
So why don't we, just to wrap this up, you're going to get back to us on as soon as you have the EMS stuff.
EMS stuff, yep,
All right,
correct.
and then is it all right to ask you to go through this?
The implementation
Section,
table?
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
and then maybe the next meeting we'll take that up.
Sure.
And put it on the
Great.
agenda, okay. All right, so.
Yeah.
All right, so we
Thank
can move to chapter 1. Has everybody looked at the version that Brian sent us? All right, so I went through it pretty carefully, and what I'll do is go through it now, and maybe it'll start the discussions that we need to do tonight. If we can finish, great. If we can't, with this, because this is probably the most, this is always the most contentious part of any sort of revised town plan. So let's see, starting on page, and anybody else jump in, and starting on page 12, I don't think I had anything for the first part, the land use, current land use, because all the updated information seemed to be pretty good, the survey. And it wasn't until we got to page 16 when we were looking at the where we inserted, where Brian inserted for us, I think at our suggestion, number 5 under land use goals is adopt zoning bylaws. And from my meeting with the select board Monday, I think we agreed that we would try to identify parts of the plan that, and then if and when the plan is adopted, the updated plan is adopted, we would then proceed from those parts to propose bylaws for the town.
My note on my version here was that under the policy section there, for example,
Yeah,
that we need to review policies to see if they will need a bylaw, which ties in with what you're saying.
yes, I went through it and, checked the ones that I thought would, either probably need or could use a bylaw, certainly for any enforceability beyond Act 250. So these are the sections, land use policies, and then the policies under each of the area designations. I mean, that's where any bylaws would pertain to. I wanted to hold off on that because if we can get as long as it's understood that a lot of these things are going to end up being part of proposed bylaws, we can do that after we get this plan adopted. There's no reason, we can't discuss it, but I think we should really try to get the plan adopted and then move to bylaws after that. So even though I've identified it, I'd encourage everyone to go through it and identify those ones that would be bylaws, but that's going to be, probably every one or two are going to, that's probably going to take up a whole meeting, for when we get to that. So I'm not sure we're going to have anything quick on the bylaws, but maybe we will. Let's see,
So we're gonna separate, you're proposing we
yes,
separate the two, not.
for now,
the functions.
yeah.
we
With the
adopt the
understanding that many of these would end up in proposed bylaws. All right, the one suggestion I had though was on land use policies. My thing was to add a number 12, and the reason I'm saying this is because of the wording in the latest Supreme Court opinion on the Sunnymead project. Anyway, what I propose, language I propose is that proximity or adjacency to another land use area shall not be a permissible reason to allow any commercial development in any area where such development is prohibited. Because what the court did was said, all right, yes, it's strip development, but it's next to another place that there was strip development. So, so if we can.
Would you read that one again, Dan, please?
All right. Proximity or adjacency to another land use area shall not be a permissible reason to allow any commercial development in any area where such development is prohibited.
A little fast.
He's writing
You
it
want to
down.
slow it down? All right, tell me where you got it. Proximity.
She's on adjacency.
You don't know shorthand?
I don't type quite as fast as I used to, it's cramping up.
That's right.
Maybe you could just pass it on to.
The proximity or adjacency to
To another land use area
area
Yep.
should not be permissible,
shall not be a permissible reason
a permissible reason,
to allow
that's where I got.
any commercial development in any area where such development is prohibited.
Why would you say, do you want to limit it to commercial?
That's
Or any development that is otherwise not permissible?
We could say any development, yeah, all right.
I mean, it's,
Good catch.
That was my question as well. Like, it seems like you're pigeonholing yourself to commercial development. You just say, to John's point.
So we're not modifying development, we're just leaving it commercial?
no.
Well, that's the point, do we want to expand it to residential development as well?
To any development other than what the
I'll
land is
write that in there, we
designated.
can look at
Yes.
it.
And I don't have a strong position on it, I just felt that maybe there's different arguments that you can make if someone's right on the, the border for, some sort of housing, maybe you don't want to, you might want to allow it for that, but I don't really have a position. But that was because I didn't have a position, that's why I took,
So could
that's
you
why I said
humor me
commercial.
one more time to allow any commercial or residential development in any area? Then what did you say?
To allow any development, Steve.
Well, I think it's better to commercial or
Just say any.
residential, yeah.
Rather than modifying it with commercial or residential,
Just say any
Any
development for
development,
which
yeah.
the
Okay.
land.
in any area,
Where such development is prohibited.
I mean, the remedy for the proximity thing is a petition to the town, isn't it? For a variance?
No, it's an argument that
But what I'm saying is
people
if-
can and do make an Act 250. Oh, well, so what
Yeah.
if it's in a rural area? Look, it's right next to the town,
But there is another action.
Yeah,
the party can
if
take.
this had been in there,
Yeah.
Sunny Me wouldn't have been able to prevail.
I added that and I made a note of it.
But, then I'm not trying to, I think we do have to nail this one down because, this is going to be there's very little in here in terms of limiting residential development, period. So I guess to the extent that there is something, but it's more on the restrictions on residential development are now more from a standpoint of conservation than just maintaining lot sizes in the different districts.
Is that what, you think it's that one, the conservation land? Because I think we discussed it, is that if someone really wanted to build a house in an industrial area, they could,
Yeah.
right?
Right. Well, but that's already allowed.
Yeah, that's what, there are no real prohibitions against
Yeah, I'm trying to think of, because maybe we'll get to it. Why don't we hold off on that, because it might answer itself as we work through this.
did we define residential? Is it 1 to 4? 1 to 4 unit?
Well, that's for Airbnbs, the difference between inns and,
No, I was thinking of an apartment building versus
we
a
didn't put any.
duplex or anything. And so the use is residential, but I don't think of an apartment building as a residential structure. I think of it as a commercial structure. I mean, even the government says 1, 2, 3, 4 unit.
Right, but we
Fall into
haven't
the
put any
single.
restrictions, there's some height restrictions in there, but there's no restrictions on number of units or anything like that, so. As you get rural and rural agriculture and, what do they call that district? Rural ag and forestry.
Yes.
Yes, those areas, there are some restrictions on, but they're environmental ones
Right.
about putting anything out in the middle of a field
Right.
or cutting trees down, impinging on a wildlife corridor to build housing. So it's not, but I'm trying to think, why don't we go through it? Because this might answer itself. Because we're going to come to make this distinction on virtually all as we get to the districts, and then see where we are in terms of that. Is that all right?
Okay.
All right, so the next thing up would be that I had, and again, people are free to stop and pay more attention to anything. Village centers,
What page are you on?
I'm on, well, it starts on page 18.
Yep.
Again, there's village center policies. I checked off a couple. On page 20, it's policy, well, it actually starts on page 19, number 6 under policies. You see, it says, it's Heartland's desire, it is not Heartland's desire to have these areas become regional development centers. And then in parentheses, then the next sentence, strip development, factory outlets, large grocery stores. If you go to the definition that we have of strip development, it only pertains to highways outside of the village. So I just didn't see why there had to be a prohibition on strip development in the village. Because if someone wants to put a store there, it's going to almost be strip development, because we don't have sidewalks and downtown blocks and things like that. So any commercial development or residential development that's going to come into town is going to be, anywhere in town is going to be strip. It's going to meet that definition, in my opinion, of the strip development. So you can go to I don't have it handy, but that was a definition that Two Rivers added, because that was the key to their amendments on their regional plan, to strip development out of rural areas. But I don't know, and if Brian was here, I would ask him why he put that in the village, because almost any development in a village like Heartland, especially North Heartland, is going to be strip development. There's going to be a separate driveway, there's going to be, separate parking. You're not going to be able to, walk between the two things. They're going to be discrete businesses. So,
But those are discrete businesses. Strip implies multiple, and it applies a linear.
that's right. And that was the thing, but that was one of the issues in Sunnymead. Suppose you're the first one in there, is it a strip? And the Supreme Court ruled that it just because you're first, it doesn't mean you don't get to, that you can say, it's not strip development because I'm first.
Well, I sort of get that, because I think of strip as being holistic. It's developed as strip. It isn't a sequential.
Right. But if we want commercial development in town, I think it's contradictory to say we don't want strip development in town, because any development is going to meet our definition, which is Two Rivers' definition of strip development. But if you go to the definition of strip development, and it's in our definition section, it says highways outside and between town centers. So it doesn't apply to town centers. So I don't know why he put it in the village district, village area.
So you're saying it's an absolute limitation as to where strip
The way it's
development-
worded, if he threw it in with, it says strip development factory. Look, let's take it out. If we just cross it off, and then we have and then start factory outlets, large grocery stores, fast food establishments, shopping malls. I added hotels and motels,
What page you on?
page 20, very first thing. Are not appropriate for these areas and shall be prohibited. So we've taken the types of businesses we don't want, but we don't say just because you have a driveway, which is basically the definition of strip development, that you can't be here. And it doesn't apply anyway, because strip development is defined as something between the villages or outside of the villages. Why would you even mention strip development in the village?
Do you want me to talk to Brian?
Sure, yeah, if you're gonna, yeah, ask him if there's any reason why because the strip development definition, which I'm fine with, I don't know why we would say that there's no strip development in town. Yeah, so, and the same thing would apply to well, we'll get through it. This is gonna be a recurring thing, because he used the term through a lot of it. If you drop down to now, Village Center, sorry, page 20.
Village
Yeah, okay,
center
yeah,
policies.
yeah.
Yeah, page
The next
20.
thing is rural business. So before we get to there, is there anything else on the village areas that people want to talk about? Okay. So then rural businesses, same thing, number one, rural business policies. Commercial strip development. That's basically Britain's, the climbing wall,
It says
the tractor place down here, they're all strip development.
But it says commercial excluding primary retail and strip development.
Yes, yeah, but it's commercial, may not take place in this area.
We wouldn't, you think Britain's is strip development?
It says may take place. Maybe I'm mishearing.
Oh, wait,
No.
all right, well, maybe I misunderstood it, yeah, say
Yeah,
that again.
excluding primary retail and strip.
Commercial, excluding primary retail and strip development and an additional light industrial development.
But if Dan's right, Steve, then Britain's couldn't be where it is. I just don't see that as strip.
It's not strip until someone else goes next door to Britain's.
That's right into it.
Read the definition of strip development. It says, driveway cuts, the things that make strip development. It's basically, to my understanding of it, it was anything that's a development that's outside of a town center. Some towns, like Woodstock, you can get an Act 250 permit and have a store in downtown Woodstock, and it's not strip development, because it's a sidewalk. You don't have parking, no one drives into your business.
I don't see how you can prohibit something that isn't. It may be at some point in the future, but it isn't today. How can you prohibit that?
Because it is today. If the first one is strip development, just because you're first doesn't take it out of the definition of strip development. And
I think that'd be okay arguing that.
yeah. Oh, well, that's what the court said, but I mean, or at least how I interpret what the court said. Yeah.
And you flag number.
I mean, that was Sunnymead's argument. Oh, it can't be strip development. No one else is there. But they ended up, that argument prevailed until they got to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court said, yes, it's strip development, but because it's next to the strip development that you allow down at the three corners, I mean, at the interchange, and so.
Yeah, okay.
So, but Steve's point here about whether we were allowing commercial. Yes, see, they were saying that strip development can't take place in that area. It says commercial development can take place there.
That's correct.
And primary retail and strip development can't. Now, I don't know if we want to exclude primary retail, because we do define that. But again, I have pause about taking strip development from areas where there already is strip development, and it's nothing that we want to necessarily discourage. We want to discourage types of businesses, but almost any business can be construed as strip development. given our definition of strip development. So that's why I think the way I would propose that we attack this is to identify the businesses that we don't want.
Are we locked into that definition? You said it was trucks.
It's well, they put it in it's in our definition
The only thing
section.
I'll say is, if you make a definition, and then you start thinking of ways to unwind the
Get around it,
definition,
yes.
you're going down a bad path.
Right, I agree with that. And so that's why my ultimate thing was going to be that we take the definition of strip development out of the definition, because we don't need it.
I think
It's
it's
in there.
problematic.
It's in there now.
Because there is an already established business there, and this would prevent additional businesses from going in next to it.
Where?
Pick up.
Go to Britain's, you're right there.
Do we want to close off? I didn't think we wanted to do that. Do we want to close off the interchange area, the very limited interchange area now, which is only on the one corner? And the Route 4, and, because there's a new business going in on Route, at the interchange.
It's our.
At 4 and.
It was already there.
Between 4 and 12,
Repurposing.
yeah.
It's just a reconfiguration.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but do we want to say no more businesses there? Businesses have a problem there anyway because of traffic.
Right.
And that's, but that's a separate issue. Why do we need a rural business area if it's not going to be any different than a rural residential area?
This is not meant to be rude, but I would be interested in having that conversation with Brian and see if it came out at all out of their plan to be consistent with their plan, or what they did envision, because we're gonna keep
Yeah,
going.
I agree completely, Steve. And I was hoping you'd be here, but I think we were told they weren't. But yes, we have to have this discussion with Two Rivers, because we don't want to undermine anything that Two Rivers might have put in their regional plan.
And I think that was
Yes,
possibly.
so we at least have to wait to get Two Rivers to weigh in on this.
We should go back and look at Route 4 and 12. I'm not sure that should be defined the way it is in that district.
Well, you would want to have it defined separately from the interchange, which we could do. Well, that's what we had done on our plan.
Right, exactly.
But this conforms, those definitions conform with the Two Rivers regional plan. They don't make the distinction between, they call junction areas like that rural businesses.
Well, it was just like the Cream Pot Road. They did what they wanted to do.
No, but we just moved Cream Pot Road from one definition to another. Are you suggesting that we create two definitions, one for the
Not
interchange?
necessarily. I think you just better look at it a little
Yeah,
closer.
it was that they didn't really understand
Right, exactly.
the Cream Pot Road. It wasn't so much they were promulgating policies, they had it
Yeah, I don't see this as analogous to the Cream Pot Road.
So just one thing that I guess I haven't thought about before, but is strip development and the discussion of it and the definition of it have to deal with the issue of intent? Because
There's no intent in it,
there might
yeah.
be someone who is just going to develop.
Can anyone pull up the
intention that
definition
it's-
section? Yeah, all right. Because if you show, George, why don't you read what's there? Because I think that might answer your question. I mean, I would think yes, based on what I recall my reading of it was, that it's anything that will lend it become, if you allow one thing in and then you've set a type of business that's going to become strip development. So we go way beyond strip development. We name types of businesses we don't want. Fast food, no, Whereas most towns, and I think on the regional plan, they just call it all strip development and they don't want it. But I think given what we want to do in our village center, we're throwing out some baby with the bathwater there.
I can see why you say Britton's is a strip development, because it says one
Has
story.
its own
buildings.
driveway, its own parking area. You
Purpose.
can't walk from Britton's without walking back to the highway, down to the, whatever goes in, in the climbing wall, or if someone puts something in between. There's no sidewalk between any of those businesses.
Maybe we
And
need
there,
to
and there
tailor
isn't
the
at the
definition.
interchange area either.
Maybe it's not the prohibition per se against strip development, but how we're defining strip development.
But the problem is if we redefine strip development, that's the two, I'm pretty sure, again, we have to ask them, but I'm pretty sure that's the Two Rivers definition of strip development. And I don't think it lends itself to our town plan, and it could be confusing if we have a separate definition of strip development that doesn't conform with Two Rivers.
Well, do you think the Two Rivers is gonna come back and conform to what we said?
No,
I
no,
understand.
No,
that's
no, no,
fine.
I don't think they are gonna, no, I don't want them to.
I
I
understand.
don't want them to. I would just take out, we don't need a strip development because we go beyond what Two Rivers is doing because we name the businesses we don't want.
I'm okay listing things as a non-all-inclusive sample. But if you try to list all your prohibitions, you're gonna miss them. So if you say, these are examples of prohibitions, but this is not an all-inclusive list, because otherwise, we're gonna get it
Let's go
wrong.
to that because that's coming up next, so.
Okay.
All right. If you go down to number 4,
page?
under rural business on page 20, again, we're still on 20. Because we're starting here, because this is going to get repeated in the other ones, but we're starting with the rural business policies. Primary retail enterprises, including factory outlet stores, fast food establishments, and shopping malls, are prohibited in this area, as well as convenience stores, banks, large chain retail stores, and fast food establishments. I was going to add hotels and motels in there. Now, that's pretty inclusive, but it says, it says such as, or including primary retail enterprise. We're pretty much taking primary retail enterprises out of those areas.
I might say certain properties or certain buildings are excluded, for example, all of those,
But what wouldn't you want there?
all of those. But I wouldn't say that that's the end of it.
Yeah, but the way it is worded, it says including, so that doesn't mean that something that isn't on the list necessarily, someone can't argue that just because you included certain definitions that their thing is is excluded from that. Because you can't think of everything. I mean, that's pretty standard language that you do when you can't think of everything.
Yeah.
I suppose the follow-up to that would be, if this was in fact followed by bylaws, then you would be specific within those.
Again, yeah, the bylaw would have the same problem of having to think of, so it's got to get the language, and we might want to, there might be a better way to put it.
Plan might guide, but the
Yes.
bylaw,
Yeah.
whether it's
Yeah.
an exhaustive list or
Yes,
not. it
yes,
certainly-
primary retail enterprises, if you're a factory outlet, fast food establishment, hotel or motel, convenience store, bank, you are a primary retail thing and you are prohibited, because we've said so. But if you can argue that you're not, are you like one of those other things, or can you successfully argue that you're not, that you should be allowed?
We might want to add, though, as you said, right, something else. I think it's important, I understand the bylaws would control, but if the plan is a roadmap for the bylaws, we should get it right.
Well,
from
this
the
is
plan.
Act 250, so this is.
Well, yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
The bylaws would have the teeth.
Well, we
ultimately.
wouldn't have to go to Act 250 if there was a bylaw.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is the plan. I mean, this was the precursor to the
Road map
bylaws.
and the others are the
Road.
signs on the road.
So let's get it the way we think the path we're gonna go down.
And if Steve is going to be the one to talk to Brian, why don't we come up with some questions on what we're talking about? If you want to be the point person on that.
I don't have to be.
Well,
I'll
if
volunteer.
we can get him to a meeting, we don't have to, we can have this discussion in front of him.
That's the big if.
Well, I mean, he's been pretty good about coming. I
Well,
don't think,
yeah, I know.
or even
if we
Kevin.
can- If we do develop a list, we could at least give them.
Yes, here's what
it would be his choice
here's our
about how
problem,
he
yes.
reported it.
Yes, this whole concept of keeping strip development, tell them that we read your definition, which is, we had put in our, the definition section, it went in, at your suggestion into there. But as we understand strip development, we don't necessarily want to, first of all, it doesn't even pertain to village centers, so I don't even see why it's even mentioned in the village centers. But to the extent that it does, tell us if it does, because I can't figure it out.
And that's where I'd want to begin, understanding what they mean
Yeah, what
by
they mean.
strip development and what
Yeah.
they were intending to accomplish
Well-
by using that.
But if whatever we put in, what it means is what ends up in the document. Doesn't matter what someone meant if it doesn't.
But I want to understand what they're trying to accomplish with that.
That's right.
The utilization of that
Yeah.
label, strip development, because, man, that thing seems like a can of worms.
Yeah, it is. All right. Just to stop this, because I flagged strip development as being problematic. And is anyone, if you had the list of prohibited businesses, does anyone have a problem with, we have a definition of hotels and motels in there, which we had come up with, which is basically 5 or more.
So classes of business, not specific business.
Yes, if we're out, yes. Do we want a motel down in, either at the interchange? Because that's where people
Do you want a
develop.
smoke shop? And I mean, you just look at the news, that's becoming an issue in
Yeah.
a lot of different towns, so.
Well, it says stores, so.
That's why I said, a primary retail is a more of an asset class.
Well,
And then if you get to cannabis distribution or a smoke shop,
but is your problem that it's cannabis?
I don't know, that seems to be a problem.
I mean, it's
that's being
legal now, so
discussed.
I mean, like.
Well, that's why I'm
Yeah,
saying.
I don't want BG selling beer,
It's, well, where's it legal? It's legal in the state of Vermont.
Yeah.
How are they doing their banking? With credit unions, or not if they're federally insured? Or I suppose like a state chartered
Yeah,
bank.
but I don't think towns can outlaw cannabis shops.
Okay.
We could outlaw it as another
distribution,
type of
yeah,
store.
yes, that's what I'm
Yes,
saying.
that's right.
John, would you find the answer to your own question, please?
Do you want to add hotels and motels in here?
That's what I was suggesting, yeah.
And could you please tell me where you want it?
I would put after, let's convenience stores, banks, hotels and motels, large chain retail, anywhere.
Are you in Village Center?
I'm in rural business policies on page
Thank you.
20.
Just wanna make sure.
It's going to be carried through, though. I'm going to add it to other sections, but this is the first place.
And what number there?
It's number 4,
4.
under policies.
Kate, I don't see you writing all this down.
All right, so I think what I think we have to do is get Two Rivers involved in these questions here. And so see what their input is. But that's what came up in my look over. Moving on to page 21. And we're into rural residential areas. I didn't make any changes, I don't think, in industrial areas. So rural residential area policies.
I know I should know this, but did we define medium density?
I'm sorry?
Did we define medium density?
No.
That's a policy, but still, if you say something should be
Well,
something.
no, a policy is where the prohibitions come from. That's what,
You gotta define it.
yeah.
Is it our definition or is it the state's definition?
They came up, that was their definition. So again, I don't know if they want to go further with that.
Yeah, I don't know
Because
the answer to
I
that
agree with you
question.
that it does open a can of
Well,
worms,
does
yeah.
the state definition supersede a regional or a town level definition?
Assumptions are terrible, but I'm going to assume that the regional plan aligns itself with the
The
state.
state, he said
And their
that.
recommendation to us would be a follow through.
Yeah. Yes, I think we can take as a given
I
that the
mean,
regional
that-
plan is.
That was sort of a theme throughout the other sections.
So, all right, so let's also flag if we want a more specific definition of medium density, or just find out what it is, because we don't have it in our definitions. Dropping down to number 6 was the next, and again, if someone has something else, jump in, but they just said principal retail not located in this area. It seemed to me that they were being more generous in this area than they were in the, well, here's my suggestion, and just to get this on the table. So I would change number 6 to make it several sentences. All industrial development is prohibited in these areas.
I apologize, where are you now?
I'm on number 6 on page 21 under rural residential area policies. And I was going to cross off principal retail because again, if we go back to the definitions of the types of businesses we don't need, such a general definition.
Would you explain that again? Why you want to remove 6?
Because did we decide that we don't want, I thought we wanted to have some sort of commercial allowed in rural residential areas.
Yeah.
So does that mean that someone can't put a small store or an antique store in that thing? That's a retail business.
But isn't there something special about principal retail?
Yes, it's anything that's a retail principal. Well, if you're.
I thought that was a separate definition.
Oh, not in ours. Maybe Two Rivers has it. Again, there's something else to bring up with them. I could have missed something, but I didn't think there's a definition of principal retail in our definitions.
You said something else to look up.
Because they go back and forth. Sometimes they say principal retail, and other places they say primary retail.
Yeah,
So,
that's the point.
yeah. So, but what I would replace it with is limited commercial development may take place in this area, and then then incorporate in its entirety this thing we put in the villages, the types of businesses that can't come in. People follow that?
So limited commercial development may occur in this area with the exception of?
I would just take the thing, the way it appears under.
No, you said so it was continuing from the others. And there's a list of all the different.
Yes, primary,
classes.
yes, there is a list. In other words, that's what I was going to take. In other words, so the next sentence would read, limited commercial development may take place in this area, and you could put but however, primary retail enterprises, including factory outlets, stores, fast food establishments, shopping malls, are prohibited in the area, as well as convenience stores. That argues again, do we want to take primary retail out of that definition?
What we were using there was mixed use.
Hmm?
What we were using originally was that mixed use definition, and we were thinking principally of housing that may have a building that is
Yes.
housing on the upper levels and probably retail on ground level.
It could be. Yeah.
That's where that came from.
Right. And do we want to prohibit that?
I don't think we
I
do.
thought we had,
We
I thought
wanted that. We
Yeah, I
talked
thought
about
we had
that.
arrived that we wanted to, that wouldn't be so bad. Or,
But it kind of
the-
was
the-
linked to the residential aspect.
it
of it.
was both, because that was, well, now you're getting over into the home occupations, which was part of the, it was incidental to how, I don't think that we would, do we want to, we have to wrestle with this and get it to the ground, but in this rural residential area, do we want to allow standalone commercial enterprises of a certain kind? Maybe you don't
Okay.
want to, you
It
don't
depends.
want a
Yeah.
McDonald's,
Yeah.
but if the bridal store that's up in Four Corners wanted to come down and, build another store, a modest store somewhere between Three Corners and Four Corners, tell them, nope, can't do that, can't put that kind of business in there.
And I don't mean to ask you to go back. Did I hear you say the term limited retail?
Yes, that's bad, yeah.
So we have primary, principal, and limited.
That's right. We're all over the place. All these things that are general, because we're going so specific, we know what we don't want. But we can get around what John's, not get around it, but hopefully get around it by saying including these things we don't want. And then we can make, up or down choices once you start putting vague definitions in, you're inviting all sorts of trouble.
Well, I can see we're not going to vote on this tonight.
Oh, no. I don't want to do anything without Two Rivers, because, this is all, we're trying to fit our town plan into their regional plan.
What I'm hearing you say is that as you go through the different sections, rural business and then industrial, as you go through all of them, it appears, at least in several of them, that item number 4 in their policies, well, let me rephrase that. It appears that rural business policy number 4 is what you are wanting to find a way to become part of number 6 in the rural residential.
Yes.
All right. I'll add it, we can look at it.
Yeah.
Hey, Steve,
But do you also, but Jay's point, do you need to say primary retail enterprises, especially if there's an inconsistency
I have them
within?
all written down. I have
Yeah,
no
all right,
clue.
okay.
would you ask Brian which he prefers, limited, primary, or principal?
It's like I'm asking how he wants a steak cooked.
Yeah.
I don't see that the state defines housing density other than very simplistic terms.
Well,
The
we're
num-
not-
the
yeah.
number of
Yeah.
units. But going back to that question
Oh,
with
yeah.
medium density,
Yeah.
I don't believe you're going to find a number, so it'll be interesting what Troc says.
But whether there are state definitions, there's Act 250 definitions of primary retail enterprises. So, and that was an issue in the Sunnymead case, because they were arguing they weren't a primary,
Yes.
but they never prevailed on that issue, so. All right, so that's flagging that one. Moving on to the page 21. Oh, I already did that. Okay, yeah, that's where I was. All right. So if we put that to rest for now, moving on to page 22. And this is under, now we're into rural area, which started on the previous page. But I didn't have anything to comment on until we got to number 10. So if anyone has anything.
We'll have the same issue with the first point.
Exactly.
We've got to give some guidance.
Yes. No, number 9 says principal retail shall not locate in this area. Does that mean that, do we want to? I don't think we needed it. I think it was just superfluous because we did say that only home occupations go in there, so. anything that's not a home occupation is going to be principal retail. So. So I think he took principal retail and he just sort of dropped it in all the sections. But you don't, if we're going to be more specific than that, we don't need it, and it's just inviting controversy. Yeah. So.
You've already said what?
Right. Yeah. So I
specifically
crossed
is
off.
allowed.
Now I said starting at number 10. I did cross off number 9. Yeah. And just went to 10.
Yeah.
And it says, new development in rural areas shall be limited to agriculture, forestry, and home occupations. Why did you have to say principal retail?
Yeah.
Can't locate there if you're limited.
I mean, you're removing
Yeah.
any bit of uncertainty, but it does seem.
Shall
Yeah.
or should?
Shall, that's interesting, because I changed the should to shall, because he used shalls and all the thing, and then he stopped there, and I don't know why. Yes, another question for him. They agreed with us on the should shall, by the way, the version that came in. Remember that discussion I had with him at that several meetings ago about, oh, you took out all the shalls, and but they pretty much put them back in. Right.
Well, that's noteworthy.
Huh?
That's noteworthy.
Yes, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't think they disagreed with us, once they thought about it. Yeah, so because until we have once there's bylaws, yeah, we don't have to be, because the bylaws will obviate or make unnecessary any Act 250 application. It won't even go to Act 250 if you can't get a local zoning permit. I would have added as a sentence to number 10, a second sentence, no other commercial or industrial development shall be allowed in this area. And what I'm thinking of is rock quarries, sand pits, which may not be primary retail, but, because we did, we encouraged that in the industrial areas. Yeah, if you had to, from just my cursory thing, if you look at court cases involving Act 250, sand pits and gravel things in rural areas are a frequent source of litigation, yeah. So. And that's even in towns with zoning. So. All right, so that's that.
Thank you.
Going down to rural agriculture and forestry.
You like number 4?
I would add whatever we put for number 10 in rural, I would put in the rural ag and forestry section, because obviously it's more restrictive than just the rural area.
So I guess my question is, if we, under the previous section, try to remove number 9, which was principal retail shall not locate in this area,
Yeah.
that also repeats in number 4 in that rural ag section.
I had crossed it off, yeah.
And you're proposing
Replace it with number
the previous
10.
number 9 becomes 10's new 9.
Yes,
And
yes,
this
you're right.
4 becomes 10 from before.
Yes.
So they said they're going to write things the way they write them. So what he's doing is he's mixing what's acceptable while saying what's prohibited. You don't need both. What is it that we want to do? What is it they want to do? That's a question. Should we list prohibitions, or do we say what's allowable?
I'm not sure, we can ask him, but my guess would be that they don't particularly care. Once if the town wants to allow primary retail, they're not going to get into, I don't think that the regional plan gets into types of businesses.
No.
Yes.
He wordsmithed this, and it's kind of contradictory. Do you want the focus to be what is not allowed or what is allowed?
Yes.
And that's the question for them. What are they doing in their
Right.
damn plan?
I think we have to do both, but that's why,
But I mean, this is why you're crossing out.
Yes.
Principal retail shall not be allowed, because you've already said, this is all that is allowed.
Right.
You don't have to say what isn't allowed, because if it isn't allowed,
Right.
by definition.
But even a home occupation is arguably principal retail. I mean, I
But you
didn't want to get.
specifically accepted it by saying.
Yes, so that's
All
what,
home
yes,
business.
so that's what I'm saying, these conflicting
Yeah.
terms,
Yeah.
you know, they're confusing.
Yeah.
So if we just take certain things out, and just, you know, and put our own language in, and then try to get some input from them as to do they have a problem with our language as opposed, because we can tell them what our problem is with their language, but. Okay, so so the biggest difference between rural agriculture, this is just a comment, but between rural agriculture and rural forestry is the minimize intrusions into open pasture, farmed agricultural land, and high priority forest blocks or habitat connectors. That prohibition doesn't appear in the rural section. So that's the main difference. And that goes to residential property, residential development as well as commercial. Like if you
won't
get
see that.
no houses in the middle of a meadow in the rural agriculture and forestry area. But there's no real prohibition on a house in the middle of the meadow in just the rural area. That's the difference I could say. Yeah.
How the heck would that play out?
Well, they're very concerned with, rightly so. I mean, I agree with them. This
what would
forest
we
block
do?
thing is a huge.
What would we do?
What?
Someone put a house in the middle of a meadow in a forestry area.
There's not much we could do unless we had a zoning, but someone could put a six number subdivision in the middle of a meadow. And then it's Act 250, then we could stop it. You know, we can stop large commercial housing. I didn't even mean to use the word commercial. Large scale residential housing things which do require an Act 250 permit. We could argue that anything that's going to be in the middle of a meadow is going to be conflicting with our town plan. Yeah. And hopefully, you know, and have the language clear enough that.
I take it we have a definition of meadow somewhere.
We don't.
I hear someone volunteering to.
It's in some
Is that a
zone.
definition?
Asking a question.
No, I don't think there is, but but I think, you know, you could split, you know, you can go right through the thing and maybe you need a definition, but, you know, to me, it's a mode field. Because otherwise meadows don't last here very long if you don't keep them cut. So.
Right.
My backyard would be a good example of that. So that's all I had for the specific things, and I don't think if they go along with what's the way we've done it here, I don't see a reason why we need a definition of strip development in our definition section, because we're not. It won't appear in the body of the thing. So why define something that doesn't appear?
Okay, how are we going to resolve these questions with Two Rivers?
We have to invite him here. Right? Yeah. So I mean, Steve can.
I can
broach it.
start.
can warm
Yes.
the- I can start. the
Yes, and
conversation.
he's been taking careful notes. Correct me if I'm wrong. And
I've been taking notes.
Okay. I'm sure they're careful. And so he can have the discussion with Brian based on showing Brian what we discussed at this meeting, and that can be, and then So if Brian, whatever feedback Brian starts to give him, the advice would be, well, why don't you come? I don't think Steve would want to be the spokesperson for Two Rivers at the thing, so have Brian come, or Kevin, whoever, or both.
Let's see
whoever.
where the conversation goes.
Yes, yeah,
They might just reply in an email.
it might. Yes, but yeah, it's, if you can give him a version by email, the same way he gave us his version by email, and you limit it to chapter 1, so doesn't have this huge thing.
I may not even give I may just cut and paste stuff.
Yeah.
I will try to get some direction and then let you know.
Yeah, okay. So that's that's all I had for chapter 1. I think that was quite enough, but.
It's good.
Steve, what do you think you're gonna get out of this?
I'm sorry?
What do you think you're gonna get? What's gonna happen in this foray?
When I have the conversation, my guess is that there might be a very simple explanation, that they were basing that on some statute or some definition or what have you, which would make it easy for us then just to point to that.
I was just trying
I'm
to call
guessing
up
that's
the
what they're doing
the
because
agenda to see.
I think I'll use the word standardizing. I think they're trying to standardize, or if you will, make
Except for
language
1,
common across
7,
all of the towns.
Why don't we take a vote?
So
we can at
I'm
least get something
hoping
out
that
as
it's
a
going to be a
working draft.
simple, this is why we're doing this, and this is the term we want to use. And
No, but it's all in one.
Did I
We've got
misunderstand?
I'm sorry?
8 of the
Did I
11 sections
misunderstand
of
what
the
he
plan
said?
ready
I
to
mean,
go.
we have to be compliant,
They have to approve what we.
in which he went on to say, you can't have something contrary
It can be.
to what we've promulgated in our
I'm not
plan.
ready tonight to go back and
I
look
don't
at
remember if there was an absolute.
Oh, all right, if you want
Yeah,
more
that's what I
time.
wondered, because
Oh, okay, all right, I won't.
At least from what I've heard from Two Rivers meetings and what I understand is that
Put that on the
if
agenda.
there is some
it.
similarity, continuity, commonality,
Yes.
whatever phrase you want, across all town plans, not telling you what should be in your
I'm not sure
town
if it's.
plan, but whatever goes in there is common to others, so someone will go, oh yeah, I know what they're doing in West Windsor, yeah, I know what they're doing.
I do recall that part where we
And I
couldn't
think
have
that's
it.
what, we might get an answer, which might make it much more digestible for us.
I think that's the reason why I asked the question, because this dynamic is gonna involve something more than two parties. You and the parties that you're gonna visit.
It won't
I would
necessarily-
hope that you're gonna come up with,
Oh, I won't be the one blessing it, but I will certainly find a way to communicate that information.
yeah, absolutely.
And let them know that if they think we're going down a road that's really ill-advised, let us know.
He will. He will because he did.
Well, I don't know.
No,
He
he
didn't
didn't.
end up, what he sent us was not, it doesn't really conflict much with what, I didn't read it.
Something we were doing was breaking the law.
For me, what came back from Two Rivers was exactly what we sent over, but with the specificity that needed certain state references that have changed and been added.
Yes.
They didn't tell us how we were supposed to be planning our community. They just put it in a format, back to George's question, that would be not unlike any other conversation they would have in any other town. That's my impression, from somebody going to the board meetings, that's what I get that impression.
Well, I'm pleased with your answer to my question, because that's what I was hoping you were gonna say. It tells me that the process has got a multiplicity of information sources, and this is.
I think so, and I think probably somewhere in our conversations with Brian and Kevin, we probably heard some of that, but we didn't always hear it. And just to get that reinforced, and answer our questions, it might be a very simple answer, or it may be something involves more conversation. But I'm hoping it's a fairly simple response.
Yeah, they came in here sort of alarmed at all the shalls instead of shoulds, because they thought, if I understood their argument right, they thought we were tying the hands of the town and maybe the select board if they were gonna pass ordinances. But I think once they saw where the shoulds and shalls are, in other words, we had shoulds, we changed, everything was shall. So, and that, it almost was meaningless because they had it all through, except in these parts that we're dealing with, which is, I have no problem changing shalls to should. So in case there was, because we're not really looking at ordinances in those sections anyway, and why would you, try to put an argument that why an ordinance might be invalid before it was even enacted. But here, where we're flagging things for ordinances, but it would seem to me that we're not, it would be inconsistent if we said, you should have an ordinance for this, but we don't want a town plan that's going to be enforceable at Act 250 for it. If it should be an ordinance, we should at least have it that there's an Act 250 enforceability argument, whether we haven't had too much luck in agreeing with it. But, this tightens up the language. It's not the one sentence thing that Sunnymead had to get around. You understand?
There is a consensus definition of meadow. I don't think we want to put it in, though.
Go ahead.
Well,
How long is it?
it's a sentence. It's an ecosystem composed of one or more herbaceous plant communities that support plants using surface water and/or shallow groundwater, with woody vegetation being present but not dominant.
Yeah, that's common.
That's exactly the way I would have said it.
You gonna codify that?
And just includes the little red clover.
That's right, that's right, that's right.
Good Lord.
Yeah, if it's in Vermont, it has to have red clover. All right, so the only thing that, if we want to get prepared for the next meeting, I went through virtually all the policies and just put check marks next to the one that we might want to discuss to take up as suggested land use ordinances. And let's take them down to the town, take them down from the Act 250 level down to the town level. So I don't need to go through all of those tonight, but you can see some lend themselves
So
to
that's for future conversation.
yes, so I could bring, I don't even want to start on that tonight. But we could all do that. I'm suggesting that we all go through the thing and see where you might want an ordinance in addition to what the town plan is saying.
Why don't we start with your preliminary?
Do you want to do it tonight?
No,
Oh,
not tonight.
oh, yeah, all right, yes, I'll,
Send them off to us to see, if you have them listed.
Well, you've just.
yeah, I mean, I just got check marks next to it, yeah.
He
Yeah.
doesn't have it.
Yeah, all right.
So when's this next
All right.
meeting that this is gonna take place? What we just,
Well, we have to set, maybe do we want to talk about our next meeting tonight?
What do we?
We could talk now.
What's on the agenda?
It would be the
Next
3rd
item.
of September.
I just, my
Election,
my agenda.
election of officers, where we going?
That was on there, but I know we have to go in strict order. But
It's HPC membership budget, old or new business.
yes, okay. So let's go to HPC membership.
Okay.
I've talked with, I think, everybody about if we could go to a co-chair.
No, we're talking about membership, not
Membership,
officers.
oh, okay, all right, well, I included that, but all right, if you want to talk about membership
Yeah,
first. all right.
any applications out there?
You'd be the first to know.
Yeah, see, that's, I think ultimately we have to decide whether we're going to even recommend going.
We've asked on our own, some people, we haven't heard any positives back there.
Yes, so-
But we tell everybody that they gotta come and fill out an application.
Right.
We've also discussed what a workable body is. You know, we had 9, we had 7, we're down to 6.
Well, but we need a 7th.
Yeah, so,
We did have an internal discussion that we got plenty to do. You know, there's 7 of us, we really need 7. I think we sort of took a straw poll, we do not want to drop to 5.
At this time, yeah. I was gonna bring this up under new business, but maybe we should fold it in now. We should put, if we go to the listserv and we put an item on that we want to encourage people to come and get involved in the process now, so we don't end up at hearing and say, oh, it's all behind closed doors. You've heard it all before. So we get it onto the listserv that we really want input now, as soon as, and we post the working document so people can look at it. And that was reason why I thought we could separate out some parts of it tonight. So say we're still working on 3 sections, but here's the document, and really encourage people to come to our meetings and to have suggestions. And also in the same note, say, and we're down a member, and we would encourage people who are interested in being on the planning commission to come forward, come to one of our meetings, see what's, actually, no one would join if they came to a meeting, but that's not true, but
It's such a congenial.
I know.
And sometimes there's lights too.
That's right.
Sometimes there's lights.
That's right. We're nothing if not self-deprecating. That's right. So does someone want to take it upon themselves to put that notice on the listserv? I don't do the listserv. So.
How about if I put it on with the minutes from the meeting?
Yes, okay. Yeah, we could do that. But really flag it. Yeah.
Or put a separate on.
Yeah, maybe, I think it probably could be 7, maybe even 3 things. One is that we want, if you're interested in one is the minutes. 2 would be, we're down a member, we're soliciting membership, and 3, we want your input on the town plan.
I have a question on the third part.
Go ahead.
When are you comfortable posting the quote-unquote most current
Yep.
version online?
As soon as we can post it tomorrow, first thing. Well, not first thing, 9 o'clock, when somebody comes in who can post things to the website.
Now, what would be,
But sorry.
Go ahead.
My suggestion would be, can whoever sends me the most recent version, and I'm looking at you, Steve, because it seems like you're the keeper, a sentence or 2 that this is a continued work in progress. We are, we're mostly done with the text of the town plan, but we're working on the policies. Just so somebody who opens it isn't thinking this is done, or they're just starting.
So make a cover sheet to the cover sheet?
Yeah, just or a sentence or 2 that we could put right on the website that's like, for the most recent version of the, draft Heartland Town Plan, but please be aware X, Y, and Z.
well, and flag chapter 1 as the one that's probably the least settled.
Right, so I think that's
That's my question.
Yeah.
It goes back to, I believe, your concern before.
right.
If we start putting it up there and say, well, this is where we are, you can kind of look at chapter 1, because that looks okay, but we're still gonna talk about it. That's not gonna help them.
No, that does make it more confusing.
Yeah, we're leaving here
That's-
tonight with chapter 1 sort of in shambles.
I don't, until we vote and approve the whole thing.
No, I guess what I'm suggesting is that, and I'll draft it and share it, that whatever the disclaimer is, that it may appear on the website as part of the hyperlink.
Yep.
And I can put it in there as a cover sheet to the draft, and I can talk a little bit maybe about sort of where we are in the process, and that we are still going through and making some fine changes, but this is for your general information at this time.
Right.
I can do that.
Great, I think that's, would be helpful for people who are grabbing it, whether it's tomorrow or 2 weeks from now, or even after the next meeting, to know that this is, it's still a work in progress, basically. It's not a draft that's going to public
So
hearing.
if I could also be a little selfish, I will try to get it done tonight, but I'm getting a stupid feeling tomorrow morning early, so it won't be till after that if I don't get it done tonight.
As soon as you send it to me, we can get it done.
Okay,
Yeah,
now,
but I don't think it makes any sense to send out what we have now. We're right in the middle of this discussion.
So there have been,
Let's just keep it till at least we vote
We've
on
been
it.
getting,
right,
I was at the
I
select
don't
board
have a-
meeting, there was a lot of, not a lot, but
I don't have a
some,
problem
some
sharing.
feedback that people feel that they're in the dark. They don't know what we're discussing. They want to see the document because this thing is, it's lengthy. And so they want to see,
Oh,
they
okay.
want to see it now.
If
And
you're
so,
getting that feedback,
Yes.
then go for it.
I think they have a
Well,
right.
but no,
yes, and there's, and I always err on the side of transparency. I mean, I don't always, but I say I do, so.
nobody dials in and nobody comes here. You send out a work in process, and that's what somebody's looking at.
Yeah.
I got a real problem with an incomplete product being given to people. If they want to work on it, then they would come here and they would participate. What do they want to do when they read it? They jump to conclusions. Then you'll see a bunch of crap on the listserv about stuff that isn't real.
so I have
It's
comments
a
on
balancing
that.
act.
Right.
I agree with you, John.
Yeah,
but at the
that-
same
that-
time,
that can happen.
They said it well, I mean, people have been sort of like, they don't come to your meetings, they don't come to our meetings, but they sit there waiting to be sure to say, what's going on?
Yeah.
And even if they do come, they still want to see a document.
Right, they want to.
And then-
Would it be crazy to leave out chapter 1?
I think you'd want to post the whole thing. I think you post the whole thing as a draft with a paragraph disclaimer associated with it, like was discussed. Because that gives everybody the context as of, whenever you send it, if it's tomorrow, the next day, whenever, right? As of August 12th, 2025, this is the status of the town plan.
I will make sure that the date corresponds to the date it gets posted.
Okay.
Even though, or from tonight.
Yeah.
You know what, I will tell you, we made some big changes tonight, or
Well,
talking
we're
about
talking
changes.
about, we've
Okay.
initiated
Yeah.
some
I will
potential
tell you,
changes.
you show someone a number or tell them something, it never goes away.
I
So,
promise
that,
you,
I'm okay with it, but
we're going to hear it now,
Yes,
or in 2 weeks when we put it up.
exactly. I
It
want
won't make
to,
any difference.
if people have a problem with number one, let's get it aired
okay,
out
I'm with
ahead
you.
of time or as in much advance of the hearing date as we can.
I will give it to you a slightly different way. I'm looking forward to all the positive comments about it. Somebody's gonna have wishful thinking.
How
I
good
like
would be
the
negative?
optimism, it's really nice. It's refreshing.
He hasn't lived in town very long.
Well, I just add 3.5 minutes ago, the words that popped into my mind, what would I want somebody to have the feeling of what they're going to communicate? And the words came out were gain familiarity. What I thought of was that, gee, if somebody across the street is interested, I would like to have us communicate to them, please come and talk to us and gain familiarity, but avoid the numbers and words and a particular, we're still talking about this and we're going to be talking about it, 6 months from now.
Yeah.
That's not what we want to communicate. So anyway, the words that popped in my mind were gain familiarity.
Right, and come to our meetings if you will have any questions or want to follow up or have an opinion now. We want to hear it as early in the process as we can.
Do you want any comment in there about what sort of the ongoing process is? In that we will ultimately, as a planning commission, we will host an open hearing that will be fully warned, and then it will be passed on. Do you want that in there, or is that gonna complicate it?
I think that would add complication. I think at this point, a few brief sentences about where we are, where you are in the process,
I could do
and
that.
here is the current draft of the town plan.
And how about just saying there will be
Yeah.
full public hearings about it, so they don't think that when this is done,
Right.
it's law.
Right.
I
Great.
think that's.
Yeah.
And see, whatever you send, if I have questions or, I can, I might make an edit or two, but I'll send it back to you before we post it.
So that's, my question is, if people have immediate questions, are you saying come to the next planning commission meeting?
Yes,
Because
yeah.
that could be
Yeah.
disruptive.
You remember,
Yeah,
we have an agenda, and we've had people come in and want to talk about other things 2 meetings ago.
But we're voting in a chair who's
Who's
gonna
gonna
run the
run
meetings, who's
Yeah,
gonna be
yeah,
all
yeah.
over those.
Oh,
meetings.
yeah. I see the way it's going.
I'm not real excited about
Just where.
giving any kind of thought that this is an open hearing
Right.
versus
That's right.
just an information.
Information, right, exactly.
Yes, and so it's always important, the way the select board does, which I think is good, is like, right at the outset, public comments, and then when that's over, I'm sorry, this isn't the public comment section of the meeting anymore, so that's the way to do it, so.
John,
I'll address
you
it.
were pretty adamant 3 minutes ago about this shouldn't go out. Do you still have that opinion?
I like transparency. I like informing people. I like getting people involved in the process. But so many times I've just seen that if something is incomplete, I don't think that's clear to people a lot of the time.
But if it's complete, they'll say, well, how come we weren't involved? in
Well,
it?
complete in the sense that it's a finished work product that now can be shared. I mean, we're talking about a lot of substantive definitions
Yeah,
tonight.
but let's let the public weigh in on it. Or at least listen in on it. I don't know, I just think it's, yeah, you're right, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't, but I think it's, on balance, you should go
Yeah,
with.
look, not dictating is always the right thing on balance.
Right.
It is,
Yes.
in letting people feel as if they are part of the process.
I think we should.
Right, and there'll be,
I'm
I'm sure you're right
to
to an
their
extent, but that's,
That's a risk.
Big boys and girls.
And the other part is, we're not, we are really close. It's not like we're going to make wholesale changes to anything.
No,
We're fine tuning some.
we
I
are.
would somehow make.
If we were,
Genuinely interested,
a while ago,
No.
considering being a
yeah,
member.
maybe that would have been.
No,
laid
I
in some
completely agree with that. I do.
Okay, I'm gonna make a motion. My motion is that we not send this out as is in the next few days, that we wait till at least after the next meeting.
Your
That's-
motion
that's
dies
all.
without a second.
well,
That's the motion. Is there,
well,
before we go any further, somebody has to second it.
right, all right.
Mr. Chair.
Well, I'm not gonna second it, but
No,
I'm gonna say.
I'm not asking you to second it. You're supposed to say, oh, we need a second.
need a- okay.
Thank you very much.
I'll say it, I'll repeat it, we need a second. But do you want to argue it further?
I
Go
don't
ahead.
know.
Oh, okay.
I'm not
all right.
gonna argue anything
All right.
until there's a
All
motion.
right, so motion dies for lack of a second.
So if we need a motion, I move that with the proper cover and disclaimer, that the public will have an opportunity through the town website to be able to see our progress up to this point.
That's so mine failed and you've made a new,
That is
Motion.
correct. I need a second.
okay.
Second.
Any further discussion on that?
No, I feel bad that Jay's didn't get a second.
Not a problem.
He can third it. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Thank you. One, under new business now, I spoke with John and Phil about clerical help. My understanding is that we can, there might, or probably will be some money available if we can find a person who would come and handle the technical aspect of the meeting, get us set up for a meeting and take notes at our meeting. And then submit those notes to the secretary and, yeah,
To the clerk.
yeah.
No, to the chair was
Oh,
agreed to.
oh, you would rather that to the
Yes,
chair,
we-
okay,
We
all right.
discussed that the notes should go to the chair, and then the full group should have the ability to review them and pass them at that point.
Okay,
We didn't see a need for the clerk to rewrite or review if we're hiring someone to do the minutes.
No, not rewrite it, but just as the process of submitting it to the clerk, not necessarily for changes.
We don't do that at the select board level, Chair.
But that's what we've always done here.
but if it's just for informational purposes, is there any reason not to do that? Just so I'm not the only one, or
What
John.
we talked about the
John-
other night is what
Yeah.
I said, so, I don't see.
Well, the understanding would be that the notes, however the notes go out, those are the notes, and that becomes the basis of the minutes.
Just a point of clarification, are you asking for, you use, the word notes keeps coming up. Are we looking for a minute taker or someone to take notes that becomes the basis for the minutes, which is what you just said?
Well, I don't know
No,
I don't know what the
there's a big,
distinction is.
there's a big difference.
There's a big difference.
between those two.
I'm supportive of someone taking minutes at the planning commission meeting.
Okay,
I don't see,
That was
And
our.
then-
I don't see the value of someone taking
What-
notes to provide to the planning commission to
What-
write into minutes.
What we do now is we have
That's-
a principal scribe, but we all review
Weigh
it
in.
for accuracy
Right.
and for annotation. I mean, that is a
Right.
joint process.
But if
then
were-
we,
if
but
were
then
to-
we vote on it at the meeting.
But if we were to bring somebody on board in a paid position to be the minute taker, that would then remove the need to do that collaborative minute taking, correct?
No, not collaborative minute
That's
taking,
fine.
collaborative review of the
Which
minutes.
would happen at the next
Yeah.
meeting.
But the review should be public.
Yeah, yeah, you move to, anyone can move to amend the minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a standard thing we do anyway, so that's when, if there was something to add or take away from the version of the minutes that gets circulated, then that's the time to do it.
When would the members review the minutes?
They would get sent out by the minute taker with the agenda,
They come out in the packet,
what,
which includes the agenda, the minutes, the warrants, and any other materials.
but for the
And there-
planning commission, it would go with when the agenda goes out,
So days before the,
days before, not hours or.
Well, the agenda has to be a certain number of days in
Right,
advance, right?
exactly,
Yeah, so
right.
whatever, so the same thing, it would be a package, and the person would be responsible for, correct me if I'm wrong, would also be responsible for publicizing the agenda,
Yeah, we're doing the postings and things like
right,
that.
right.
So the big question, to move beyond the minutes, is when you all are putting together a job description, seems relatively straightforward. Dana, we talked about this, we can put something on the listserv and on the website. The question that I have that I think the group would want to talk about is whether you would want to pay somebody by the hourly or by the meeting.
Well, what would be the preferred way to do it from the town's point of view?
well, you would never get this in the public sector to be a salaried position, right? Because if someone came and, who knows, a meeting went for 5 hours and they thought they were working for 1 hour, you'd have problems.
Right,
And
so
I don't think we're
you
going.
you pay them more on a per meeting basis, right? Let's just use some fake numbers here. We're gonna pay you $100 per meeting. Or we'll pay you $20 an hour. You win if the meeting is 1 hour long, but you lose if the meeting is 5 hours long, right? So I'm open to doing it either way. If you have short meetings, it's tough, you know.
Can we solicit somebody and give them that option? They might have a
But
better.
it's more than just that, right? Because you've got to prepare the agenda.
Right.
You've got to prepare the minutes. I don't think they're ready for
Your
publication.
chair is preparing the agenda, not this person. That's the chair's responsibility.
But it's going to this person
For publication and posting.
for publication.
Correct. Right.
So they're involved, their
But
time's involved other than.
then the presence at the meeting, sure.
Why is this person involved with publishing the agenda?
I think that that was the request, and I think it's a somewhat nominal, it's a pretty small task that
I
can be done.
guess that's where I was getting a little lost. In our list of officers, our clerk is responsible for making sure the minutes get upstairs to be posted on the website, which gets posted way in advance of us getting an agenda for the next meeting. The posting for when our meetings are and are now understood and agreed upon locations would be something that would be typically done by our clerk. And forgive me if I misheard you. Are you in essence saying we don't need a clerk?
Nope, I think much like
Well,
this,
tell me what their job would be.
much like the select board has a clerk position.
We had it, that's right.
Right, in name only, and we have Cheyenne who takes the minutes, and I post the agendas.
And our clerk is responsible if we go into executive session to record the comings and goings and what statute we're going into it at, and if there's a decision.
If the planning commission doesn't need somebody to do that, I've heard various requests, primarily minute taking and help with setting up and getting the Zoom link running. I have also heard the request to help with posting the agendas and getting those out. We can post a job ad to see if somebody wants to take all three of those tasks.
Is that what you suggested?
Yeah, I mean, I think
That
just
someone else should write our minutes?
well, it's a clerk.
Having said, I don't think there's an interest, and it would be really tough to find somebody to come and open the Zoom link.
I'll figure out the damn Zoom link. I've got the
I
instructions.
mean, if that's only the request, if there's a request for minute taking and administrative support, great. Fully supportive of that. Let's put something out there and get somebody on board.
Okay. Well, you should understand what the process is now and has always been.
I think we've heard it.
No, you haven't heard it from me. You might have heard it from someone else.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chair, I didn't mean to interrupt your
Would
my
you
head chopped off.
allow me to speak at this meeting?
Yeah, go ahead.
What happens now is, as far as the agenda goes, before the agenda goes, I call the chair and the vice chair, and I say, hey, what are we going to put on for the agenda? And we come up with an agenda, and it goes out soon, exactly what we say it's going to say. When it comes to the minutes, I, or sometimes Kate, takes the minutes. We know what the business is and what business needs to get done. And so we write them out. After they're written out, I send them out to everybody, and everybody makes whatever changes they want to make. It stays within the group, and it doesn't allow a third person who's not a member, who may not catch the drift of really what our intent was. And I can't see why we should ever possibly allow a person to do that.
But sir, can I interrupt?
I think we should just cancel this
Yeah,
thing tonight.
I just want-
I mean, if they want to continue with the clerk, then why do we need to hire a note taker?
Well, I think, Jada, to your point, any administrative support would be at the meetings, therefore capturing the intent of the conversation.
Well, could we do without a note taker?
No, I don't, to tell you the truth, I don't think that we need to spend the money. This is what the planning commission, at least in the last 45 years, how we run our business. We don't need someone to be
No,
paid to do
well,
this.
here was my concern with this whole request, which was that we come here and we now have legal
Yeah.
things that have to be
obligation,
met, you know, with Zoom
Yeah.
meetings and stuff. You know, the laws changed. We have we have a problem with setting that up. If we're confident that we can do that, you know, it was beyond me. So I just wanted someone that I could say, I just know it's going to get done. But John, if you're confident with it, I don't, you know.
Well, I should be able to do this. I
Well,
mean,
that's-
I'm not gonna be here, but I mean,
That
you know,
was what I had.
I'm
It's
not
like everybody-
exactly technically
I was
savvy,
told
but
I should be
I've
able
got
to.
the instructions.
Where are the instructions?
Well, why don't we leave it at this? Why don't we just, let's see if we can get what happens the next couple of meetings, and we'll renew the request if we feel that we're sort of the, you know, because I felt I was very frustrated because every time we were spending 15, 20 minutes just getting the computer to work, and we weren't even starting our meetings till 10 of 7.
Sure, of course.
Okay.
Of
Yeah,
course.
may I add that the select board wanted to, we heard you wanted the minute taker many, many times. And we really felt we wanted to step up and say, let's get it done. So that was our intention.
Okay.
To deliver that. And the format that I said was the way that it was expected. I apologize, Jay, that we didn't have 40 years of experience. We just knew what the expectation was, where the clerk handled any of the executive sessions, and this other person basically created the minutes, and then as a group, the select board approved them at the meeting or amended them at the meeting. We did not have that intermediate step that you have had as a practice.
Yeah.
But I must say, for my part, other than Dan and I having a brief discussion about this, to say, well, is there money? We really are most concerned with this device here. And we understand that how do you have
What was
some...
conveyed, okay, so, and we've heard you, and I think we have a
Yeah,
path forward with
not a
that.
problem. I never thought that we needed someone to act outside the group for the minutes. This is a first. Now, maybe Dave came in and talked to you. I don't know.
Yeah, so there had been,
There's a history of that.
there's a history of the request coming in my tenure at the town. I would say no less than 6 occasions I've had conversations with members of the planning commission about the request for minute taking. If you choose to do it on your own, and John, if you think you feel confident in the Zoom link and we can send the instructions, great. I'm here to extend the offer if it's needed. If there's not a need, great.
Can we, I don't wanna say yes or no.
I don't
Right now, I think we
I
should.
would prefer not
I'd
to
rather-
close the door.
I'd rather think about this a
The
little
offer, we appreciate the offer,
Can we table it?
but
bit. Yes,
for me,
I would like to.
for me,
Was there a
the big advantage of having someone take the minutes is it allows the rest of us to focus on the
To fully
discussion.
engage.
That was, yes, that was,
And
yeah.
that's not, it's not taking away.
Yeah, I
anybody's-
assumed that, but if that was,
And to go beyond that, I don't believe there's anything that says that that person who takes the minutes cannot then distribute them whatever pathway where we, if we chose, could have that last minute look before it's posted. We don't have to wait until the packet and the agenda comes out. Otherwise, we could just go to the website and read them on the website. So.
Yeah,
Yeah.
great. So,
yeah,
I don't
if
propose
that'll
that.
work, maybe, why don't we table it? We'll talk about it
Yep.
next meeting, get back to you. And if the,
you know where to find me.
okay. All right, I assumed that a minute taker would have been, I just didn't see the problems with it, so. All right, the last thing that I had is is under the membership, but also under that heading would be the officers going forward, because as you know, I'm an interim chair, or I was the vice chair, but I've assumed that the chair after the resignation of the chair. I've spoken with, I think, everyone on the commission. John has agreed to share if we make it co-chairs, he will run the meetings. I will be the go-between, deal with the press, deal with the select board and the public if need be. Reporters who call up, I can be the flag catcher as we.
Do we need a motion?
Let me ask you a question. George, I hear you every meeting about structure and process, which is always good. You focus on that. And when Dave came in, I think in the beginning, he wanted to, didn't he want to adhere to Robert's rules of order?
Yeah.
And when I look at the meeting, I'm sensitive to what you say because it's true. Sometimes we get off track. But yeah,
I'm locking this door, just so.
Okay.
Yeah, we know how to lock it behind us. All right, thanks.
it's kind of like when you say run the meetings, well, yes, this is shepherding and following the agenda, but the meetings work. They, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
There's not a conductor of these meetings.
I think Dave was, it was his own inexperience and discomfort, sort of, he liked to have, an outline and a form to follow. I think he wasn't as comfortable as you might be, and I certainly am. In other words, I agree with you completely that however we do the meetings, we don't have to get hung up on rules and stuff, as long as we do the basic things that get us, satisfy statutory requirements. I think, so your instinct, I
Yes,
think,
so
is
I gotta
right.
do-
Yes.
You talked a lot tonight, you did much of the work. And so it was less running the meeting than conveying information and
You
understanding.
could have called the meeting to order and then turned it
Yeah.
over to me to discuss chapter 1, which was,
One thing I don't want to do though, I'm fine with a minute taker. I'm not fine with taking away what you do. If the minutes are taken, fine, they go to you. That's a minute taker. I don't see the minutes as coming from someone like that as being the finished product.
Yeah, I didn't understand. I thought they were just saying I didn't understand the difference between notes and minutes. I just thought any notes become minutes if we.
They do, but I take notes and I label them as notes.
Right.
They don't necessarily, I may use my notes to contribute to the
Exactly,
minutes.
and that's what people do.
Right.
I was flabbergasted that Phil thought that there was some arrangement that, oh no, we don't write the minutes anymore. There's an outsider that does it. I was flabbergasted.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
I don't reckon we had
Yes,
that.
because I thought that the person could just take the minutes, show them to you as the secretary, and then.
Were you surprised by Phil's comment?
I was.
No.
Because I didn't realize that it was that controversial.
Yeah,
But
I
it's-
think he thought he was providing some service.
Yes, I think he was making it easier, so you don't, whoever is the
It would.
note taker and
It
the
would
minute
allow you to
person are the same,
focus
are one and
on
the
the
same.
conversation. However, it doesn't negate anything you're doing. You're not taking the minutes or notes in the moment.
Well,
You're focused on what we're discussing,
Right.
but then you get the work product.
But minutes aren't approved until they're brought up at the
But-
meeting, and people can add to them, subtract to them if if a
The
mistake was
notion-
made. I thought it was fairly innocuous.
The notion that only you and I could look at them, no. I wouldn't accept that.
I mean-
I don't like that.
The note taker, what I understood that they were offering is they get a note taker who then goes home and does the minutes and submits those minutes. And
Submits the minutes to whom?
well, that's
Well,
what
they
we
said-
didn't
no,
nail
he
down.
said-
I agree
he
with you
said-
that it should be,
he said to
if
the
our
chair.
policy is the secretary, then it is to you. and you can,
Phil was quite clear.
He said,
that
he was
if- when
clear.
there's a minute taker, note taker, column, whatever the hell you're gonna call them or him or her, that it would then be out of the hands of the clerk. They would submit them on to,
all right, I
That-
can understand it.
That's what I heard, that's what I heard.
Can we elect officers?
Yes.
Yes, we get it, yeah,
There was a motion.
we got sidetracked. All right, so the motion, I guess I can make,
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that,
Yes.
like, how I view it,
right.
is
Before he
it
was
more or
voting
less
in.
how you guys view it?
can you write that down?
All right,
Okay.
so all in favor of a co-chair, with John being the other co-chair?
Is that a motion?
Did we need a second?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think I moved initially.
I'll second.
What's the
Okay.
motion?
The motion is that there'll be co-chairs with John as the chair running the meeting and with Dan, the one who's the face to the public.
That's a good way to put it, yeah, okay.
And no vice chair.
No vice chair. I mean, we could have a 5-member board with 4 officers. and-
Okay, all right, we got it.
So I moved it.
I second.
Thank you.
So all in favor?
Thank you.
All in favor?
All opposed?
Dave would never say that. I would say, Dave, come on. You know,
Well, I can
say
understand,
vote
but see,
in
that was
favor.
John's point, though, is like, yeah, I mean, yeah, you do have to sit, but
Is
you can say off the cuff, and yeah, the way we do it
Is
is,
that all we have on
that was,
the agenda for now?
let me just make sure I made notes, I don't think there's anything else. Well, if we don't have to discuss this tonight, but this question of the number of the membership, let's see if we can
How
beat the
this works.
bushes and see what we come up with, because I wouldn't want to resignedly go to 5 because we can't get somebody,
Yeah, let's not
you know?
do that
So,
yet.
but remember, if George is done, we need 2 people.
Mhm.
Yeah, so. Because we need 2 people to replace George.
Well, I think of the situation with me was heard at a different, at a meeting, and when we get through with the preparation and up to town meetings, I'm going to use that as my time to leave.
They might append the bylaw project.
Is that?
I think the bylaw project's
Yeah,
gonna get
see
appended
us
to
through
that.
the bylaws too, George.
You can't.
You're on for a while if you're
Whatever
gonna.
you think needs to be done, I'm here to do it, but I don't want to take it for.
All right. Well, we certainly don't need a replacement until you resign, and no one's
George,
pushing you
you
to
could put a
resign.
date certain on this too,
Yeah,
like we were gonna put in our town plan.
Yeah.
By November 30th, I will be gone, if not before.
yeah, just give us some heads up so we can, if there is, so we know that
Really
we need the second person, yeah.
Well, I think we're
Let's
getting
go for
closer
one.
and closer.
Yeah,
You
well,
said coming in the door.
Well, let's
You know,
go
Well,
for
it's been
yeah.
getting closer.
Let me just
Sneaking
back
over.
up once.
Yeah, I mean, I got,
Yeah, let me just back up once.
all right. Okay,
I think this decision to change the leadership apparatus and co-chairs and so forth is a very healthy one. I think it's going to take a little while to get used to it, but the thing that it's going to need to get used to is having a person, and not a persons, but a person who can support what was just voted in. And I would urge us to proceed with that. And it was decided that we needed to have additional discussion to decide what that's going to be, but take advantage of it, because I think it really can do something. And as you expand the membership and so forth, the things going back and forth in a dynamic group need somebody to support it. They don't need somebody to make decisions, but they need something to support it, because that's the way that's going to function. And so I think we have an opportunity from what happened tonight, that decision to go through that process. They heard it, and let's do it, because it is an opportunity. And a good person who doesn't have to know anything about the planning commission, but can support this group. And it's really needed.
Yeah.
It's really needed.
Yeah, and I think that the most important attribute of anyone that we get is the thing that we've always had is the collegiality.
Yes.
That has to
exactly.
be, so it's, we can get somebody who's a trained urban, or rural planner, but if we just don't, if it doesn't feel right, I don't think that's the way to go. You don't want someone coming in here just,
Let's remember, and I remembered this a little while ago, but the problem with the seriousness of who takes the minutes is the fact that there's intellectual activity that goes into, do we need minutes, and I don't quite agree what it is, and let's pass them around. It isn't having somebody that you hire from Staples to come in tonight and write the minutes. There's something more to it, that the person who produces the minutes and supports the group, I think will increasingly become an important member as they learn what the process and what the decision-making process is. I think this is a good thing has happened tonight.
well, do you think it would be, it's better to keep the minute taking the way we've done it, which is in-house, as opposed to having a minute taker, or we could rely on a minute taker as long as we got the right person, and as long as the procedure of running the minutes by.
Those are two iffy propositions.
Yeah.
Get the right person and they do the right job.
Right.
That's why I really think, I don't care if it's me or not, the clerk, it needs to stay within the group.
No.
So it should be a member of the planning commission who's taking.
Absolutely.
Okay, all right.
It's the clerk.
Is that what?
It's working well, the way it is. I have no issue whatsoever with supporting a minute taker, because I think it would allow you to focus, really, take notes, actually, instead of minutes. Minutes are literal transcription. And when you were reading that, to type it down, that's the thing. But getting the gist in your notes and being focused on the discussion, as long as nothing has to change with the process, that disturbed me a little bit. I don't want the process. The process works pretty damn good.
Okay.
I think, and as George said, if someone comes in, starts taking the minutes, maybe they'll take an interest in this. And
Oh, you
that's
mean they
fine.
would then join the planning
Well,
commission?
who knows?
Oh, all right.
They'd have to be in the town, but anyways, I don't want to turn things on their heads. That would be my vote.
All right.
Okay, I would add one thing to this discussion, and that is the duty of the chair or the vice chair or whoever runs the meeting. If you go to a select board meeting, you have to be recognized to speak because they control their meeting. And I think here, and a lot of times we'll have people that come here and they'll just be a member, sort of not even an ex officio, but they'll come in and they'll interrupt our train of thought.
Yeah.
And I think that needs a little more control.
Well, that's what John was saying, do we have to run the meetings, that
Not
a
like,
little more formally? And there's an argument to do that, so.
well,
That was my worry with the plan going out. If people came in like that, I forget the lady's name, but she wanted to talk about things. And look, that was perfectly, I can understand her perspective, but that's not what we set the meeting up for that night, that's all. And, so as long as people understand that, and you handled it pretty well, although you had to say it 3 times. And she was persistent.
So, okay, that can happen in any meeting.
I'd be happy to continue the conversation. I will voice one thing. I do not object to having someone who would take the minutes. That's nothing to do with the responsibility that the clerk would have and be able to continue that. Taking the minutes in a formal way, may in fact address certain legal issues. The other part that would be useful for us on agendas is that if we are anticipating moving into executive session, there are different kinds of executive sessions, and we should have what type of we're going into. If we're going to become more formal, I'm not saying the collaborative, open conversations we have are absolutely wonderful. But if we're going to try to organize a little more, as much as anything, to reduce the flack from outside, then we can do that without a lot of difficulty. And I'm not saying we saw that tonight, but it is my observation.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that that a minute taker would, and who submits the minutes, my understanding was that whoever took the minutes, if it was an outside person that we're paying, would then submit proposed minutes to the clerk, who would then,
That's a different
yeah,
conversation.
but they, apparently
If
was not
that's
what they had in mind.
That would be a nice solution. That would be helpful.
Except one thing, as the minute taker, writer, when someone else sends you, Kate did a wonderful job, but I would still have to take what she wrote, and if she didn't see something the way I did it, I would add in my own little 2 cents. So it really doesn't save that much, as far as I'm concerned.
I have not observed Cheyenne taking the minutes for the select board.
You mean physically seen her?
Does this
It's a
need to
per-
stay on?
That's why I was trying to get to.
Yeah, well, we're still, yeah, we haven't adjourned, we're gone into executive session.
Could we
Yeah.
adjourn?
All right, well, let's go into executive session because we're talking about, personnel issues.
Yeah.
All right,
So
so,
I move into executive session.
all right, then okay, now we can turn this off and we'll come back on and just adjourn the meeting. So.
Have I gotta write this down?
No?
No.
Yes, you do, but you don't.
No.
We went into executive session
Right.
at 9:34.
And I can't see the dark without my reading
Don't be overconfident about that you're.
No, I can't.
It always frustrated me.
I can't see the damn thing. Now I got it. End meeting for all. Yeah.